Hi, my name is Andre, and this is my value speech. And so, as humans, everyone has emotions, but everyone connects with objects and different people in different ways because of their emotional values with it. And I just think that this makes us hold different values on everything in our life. Like, you hold people in different places. Like, you obviously gonna have favorites from people you like to who you dislike. And in my life, I feel like many things play like important roles in that shaped who I am, including like environmentalist views, my friends, and my family. So one thing that shaped my personality is the environmentalist views, and it just opened my eyes to the real world problems and just like kind of showed me that there's other things going on and it's not like the world doesn't revolve around you. And one of the things that kind of just opened me up is just going to the ocean all the time. Living in California, you kind of see all the pollution and plastic in the water and on the beach and stuff, and the ocean is like the backbone of this world. So if we lost the ocean, then it would be like the end for everyone, basically. And I feel like this all started in my ABES class, which is environmental science from high school, where my teacher really made the class interesting and gave an interest to everyone. And it just made these views change my everyday life, just because I don't use plastic as much, like plastic forks, straws, just simple stuff like that. Kind of cut out of my life because it's useless. And solar panels are a great thing in this world because it makes renewable energy and it's just a lot better for everyone. And I ended up talking to my parents when I was younger about solar panels because I always thought it was a great idea, and then eventually like the idea fell through. So I feel like I played a huge part in their life, and my family has definitely played a huge part in mine, especially with their culture being Portuguese, like they're immigrants. So soccer is just kind of like built into our blood, and it goes a long way because it's almost like a second language for us. We all connect through soccer. We can just watch games, talk about it for hours on end, and it just really connects to family in different ways. And also with sports, my parents have tried to go to like a lot of my games and try to like show love for me through that because they know I really like sports. So they just try to make it to as many of my games, and I thought it was really like nice of them and kind of changed me and made me like a more caring person and want to like go out and do stuff for other people too. And another thing from my family that I connect with is cars, because my brother and my dad are both really into cars, as my dad used to drive motorcycles all the time in Portugal when he was younger, and me and my brother both just love Japanese cars such as like GTRs, the R34, RX-7s, just like that. And one thing that I hold just as close as my family are my friends. I think friends are one of the most important things to have in life just because they shape you and mold you into the person you are. And they give you a different like sense of your personality. Like they make you more humorous, outgoing, lively. I feel like if I didn't have my friends, I definitely wouldn't be at the point I am right now just because of how much they helped me, just like motivate me to go out and do stuff. We all help each other in that way. And I feel like I found a lot of my friends through sports, just playing school sports, just soccer, lacrosse, just going out after school and having fun. And then I feel like video game friends that you make online are some of the most important ones in your life because they give you that dark side of your humor and they just bring out like your funnier side. And I feel like you spend a lot of time with them in your teenage years just because you don't have anything else to do. You kind of just play video games for like 8 hours. And I do have some pictures of my family and my friends that I would like to show you. This is my family. This is my mom, and my brother. My dad isn't there, but don't know where he is. And then these are all my friends. And then to show my environmentalist views, I have my hydro flask with me, but it's holding up the phone, so I don't want to move it out of the way. These are all small pieces in a puzzle, and that puzzle completed makes up my personality. So I think that the environmentalist views, family, and friends really shaped who I am today. And hopefully you understand a little bit more about me and who I am. And the most interesting part about my values is that they're all connected with each other because my family and friends are so similar and hold some of the same values as me.
Yeah, okay, so these are my values. So 3 that I hold that I think they're really important, especially not just in relationships, but within yourself and in like an exterior way, like in society, are respect, patience, and commitment. And I'm gonna start with a quote, which is from Roy Disney, not Walt, but it's pretty close. It's not hard to make decisions once you know what your values are. And I think it's really important to remember these values, especially not just with relationships, but again with yourself, and knowing how to be patient with yourself, respect yourself, and be committed to the things that make you excited, that you're dedicated to, like your passions and whatever. So in terms of respect, I think personally, like, you should have respect for yourself, and it's really important to have that before you can truly have it for others. For instance, you can act a certain way towards someone, like think you're being really nice and courteous in the way that you're speaking, but that might come off as different to them because of the way that you might treat yourself. And not saying that you have to love yourself before you love anyone else, but respect for sure is extremely important if you want to have a deeper relationship with someone, or just a connection, just a friendship, really. Respect. And respect, so in terms of my culture, I'm Filipino, and we have a whole lot of different ways that we show respect, in particular towards the elders. So if you are around like your grandparents or just older people, you'll take their right hand or their hand and you place it on your forehead as a sign of respect. You're receiving like blessings from them. And also in an organization which I'm a part of, so we have a showcase every year, which and I've only been here once, I've been here a year, but anyways, it's dedicated solely to paying homage and respect to all the people that came before us and our culture in particular. And visual aid, so here's like the little promo card. It happened already, but it's cool. And in terms of society, so with respect, I think it's important to respect the space that you live in, if not just your own individual home, then the earth in itself, like you said, the environment, which is really important to you. I think that if you can maintain a sense of cleanliness within where you live, and you just pick things up, and that's something that is important to you, then you'll carry that over to wherever you go, whether it be somewhere your friends live or where your own family lives. And then respecting the environment is also incredibly important, I think, because we want to definitely leave it better than we found it. You want to leave it so that other people can also enjoy it, and that so we can maintain it for the time that we have it. And I think respect also is linked to patience, because I think it can be hard at first to develop a sense of respect for someone when you initiate a relationship, because you're going based off first impression and you don't really know them that well. So you have to be patient if you really want to get to know them, get to know their personality as well. And in terms of patience within yourself, I think you can have patience if it's just a form of self-care and you just want to better yourself. And and then in terms of others, so obviously you're not going to agree with everyone. You're going to have different points of views from everyone, whether it be your friends or family, or just like in college, like you meet everyone, all the different types of people from all over the place, and they're going to have different points of view than you. And like patience with them is really important, especially giving them time to talk and listening to what they have to say, not interrupting, which is a terrible habit of mine, interrupting, which I try all the time to resolve by just being patient, letting them say their thing. And if I don't agree with it, that's okay, but as long as I'm listening, that's okay too. And patience with our responsibilities. So we're all in school, obviously, this is college, and some of us also work, and I think if we can develop a sort of patience through that, like with the people that we work with, or whether that be like in a small group for like your speech class, or it's your job, you want to be able to develop those connections with them. And that's also linked with respect, because that way you can get to know your work ethic and how you can work together. And yeah, in terms of patience, so I just have a photo of my family, because we communicate, or we try to communicate as frequently as we can, and or I try to call them when I can. which turns out sometimes is every day. It'll be like I'm walking 5 minutes to class and I'm like, oh, I need to talk to someone real quick. Hi, Mom, like something like that. And obviously we don't always agree with each other, because that can be like with your friends or in school. We're not always gonna come to the same agreement. We're not gonna see on the same page, but as long as we're listening and communicating well and giving each other a chance to give a point of view, then we can all be on the same page and maintain that close relationship, because I do have a close relationship with them, which I'm extremely grateful for. And if I wasn't trying to reinforce patience and always like, or if I wasn't trying to give them an opportunity to speak as well as they give to me, then it just wouldn't work. The communication wouldn't flow. There wouldn't be a back and forth. Like, we just wouldn't really have as much of a relationship. And patience also, I think, links with commitment as well, because in terms of commitment, you can have short-term goals, long-term goals, and you can strive for the outcome and the results of that, whether that be work or school or relationships or really anything you want to be committed to, especially if it's something you're passionate about. And obviously, short-term goals are extremely different from long-term goals. Like, short-term goals can pertain to self-care, and long-term goals can be the major you're in and that you're trying to, and the career you're trying to pursue. And it can take a lot of time. You can be in a class and want to get out of it right away because you feel like you know everything and you're only like a second year and you have a whole long way to go. But it's okay, because if you're patient with the outcomes, then it'll all be worth it. And this is just my planner, because if I can see everything visually, like all the short-term things like assignments and then long-term things like events, then everything makes more sense. And then to conclude, I think that these values, all three, help you grow in relationships, and as long as with yourself. If you can respect yourself and be patient with your individual work ethic and the people around you, then I feel like that'll make you more of a driven, motivated person that is willing to commit to your passions or the things that you love. That's it.
So, hello, my name is Zack, and kind of like Mia, I will be talking about 3 values that are more like qualities that help us grow as humans. So, the 3 values in my life that I find are really important are the values of honesty, responsibility, and building relationships with other people. And honesty, I feel, is a really important value to us, because without honesty, you wouldn't be able to believe what anyone's saying to you. You wouldn't know if anything is true in the world or anything. So it's like how would you be able to ask somebody for something, and then they could tell you a lie, and then all of a sudden you'd have to figure everything out yourself. Like, you'd have no way to make friends. You would have no way to build relationships in like a business or workplace, because everyone's trying to get up on each other. So we all know the story of like somebody would go out, the boy who cried wolf. He would go out and cry there was a wolf trying to eat all the sheep up. They would go out and there was no wolf. So when he came back and said it again, they believed him a little bit less and less each time. So honesty is very important, because if you ever come across somebody like that in a conflict, and if you're an honest person, the people are going to believe you if you have a problem with them and you're trying to resolve it. So that is one upside to being an honest person. Another good part of it is that it's a lot easier. There's a lot less stress when you're honest. When you're lying a lot, you have to tell the same story every single time, or they're going to catch you when you're lying. So when you're honest, there's no stress. You don't have to worry about, what if they catch me, what if this and that. So not only will it help you live a better life, where it's like you feel more like free, and you feel more truthful to yourself, and but you just stay away from a lot of drama and a lot of arguments that way. And if 2 groups are disagreeing and they're being honest with each other, it's a lot easier to find a solution that way. Whereas if you find like groups that are disagreeing, but they both want to tell their story their own way, and they're both blowing it up and lying, it becomes a lot harder to find a solution, and a lot of unnecessary resources are used that it could have been it could have been a lot more efficient process, but yeah, honesty is one of the biggest values that in our lives, and that honesty rolls right into the next value that I was going to talk.
It's okay.
It rolls right into the next value that I was talking about, which is responsibility. Responsibility is very important in our lives, and we would not grow as humans without responsibility. So, ever since we were young children, responsibility has been like the number one way that it has allowed us to grow. And so each time we would get more and more responsibility, it would give us more and more experience in life, so that we knew what it would be like after that experience. And so we could take that with us and build on it each time. And every time, responsibility helps us not only learn more from other people, we can learn more about ourselves. And that is also, honesty plays a part in that responsibility, because when you're being honest with yourself, you're being responsible and being held accountable for what you know happened, and telling the truth in a certain situation where you possibly could gain a benefit by lying, but that in the end will not be the greatest option for you to take. And by being responsible, it's a key to also building relationships with other people. Like, you have to be held accountable for all the actions that you have with others and all the interactions that you have with others. So if you're being responsible, if you make a mistake, you'll learn from it and you won't try to blame it on other people. There are a lot of people who they'll make a mistake, they'll try to blame it on everyone else around them, and they won't realize that if they just looked inward and tried to fix the problem themselves, not only would they be able to save friendships and relationships with a lot of people around them, they would save a lot of time and effort that they just wasted doing nothing and only hurting themselves and not actually benefiting themselves in the end. And responsibility can be a good thing, and it can be a bad thing, because it also allows us to have control over others. So, like for example, parents, they have a responsibility to have control over their children. But if they abuse that power, then it's like they can use that control, and that control, they use it, and it's like abusing their power. But if they take their responsibility the right way, and they are held accountable for what they do with their children, and people who are just in control of other people, like bosses at a job using labor from people that are below them, that is not only something that can bring them further and bring the people underneath them further, it is essential for building like a reputation. People will realize that you're being a good person, and it also, it's just a great way to build relationships when you're being responsible. So that rolls me into my third one, which is building relationships. And so building relationships is an essential value to me, because without that we would not be able to learn from anyone else. I'm already at 6 minutes. Oh shit. Okay, so I think that between building relationships, being responsible, and being honest, that these three values, when they work together, they can help us learn from others, and also to grow as ourselves in life and gain experience. Thank you.